Lake Louise, Alberta, Canada is, in my opinion, the most beautiful lake you can ever see. From the turquoise-colored lake to the picturesque mountains, the beauty is second to none. Come join me on this quick tour as we explore this area together. This is travel step by step. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Lake Louise is a hamlet within Banff National Park in Alberta, Canada. Named after Princess Louise, Duchess of Argyll, it lies in Alberta's Rockies on the Bow River, 3 kilometers or 1.9 miles northeast of the lake that shares its name. Initially settled in 1884 as an outpost for the Canadian Pacific Railway, Lake Louise sits at an elevation of 1,600 meters or 5,200 feet, making it Canada's highest community. The nearby lake, framed by mountains, is one of the most famous mountain vistas in the world. The famous Chateau, Lake Louise, also overlooks the lake. Now that we've gone over a brief introduction of Lake Louise, Alberta, Canada, let's go ahead and go over the attractions. Now, one of the attractions that's at Lake Louise area is Samson Mall. I know that if you're going to Lake Louise, you're probably not going shopping, but that is one thing to consider if you like. I would say that there are a lot more other attractions to do that are more on the nature side. Some of those attractions include admiring the lake for its beauty. You could also walk the Lake Shore Trail along the lake. There is another lake also nearby that kind of gets ignored somewhat, but it's still very beautiful, and it's called Moraine Lake. You could also ski or board at the Lake Louise Ski Resort. There are canoes that are available for rental as well at Lake Louise. So if you really like canoeing and you want to go over a pristine turquoise-colored lake and take wonderful pictures, then that is a great idea to go canoeing. You could also hike to Lake Agnes and the Lake Agnes Teahouse. You can hike to the Big Beehive. And you can hike to the Plain of 6 Glaciers. And also, it goes without saying, that big chateau that you saw in the beginning of the video, the one that looks like a big giant hotel on the lake, well, that big chateau is definitely a marvelous thing to look at and a marvelous place to stay. So if you could also spend a weekend there in Chateau Lake Louise and be right on the lake itself. So that's also something to consider as well. There is horseback riding in the area as well. So if you want to do things on horseback, you can also explore nature that way. So those are just a few of the attractions that Lake Louise has to offer. And so, of course, you can do anything that you'd like in that area. You can even have a picnic, and you can add a couple of things to that list, but these are just some of the things that I would consider doing if I am in the Lake Louise, Alberta, Canada area. Now that we've gone over a few attractions at the Lake Louise area, let's go ahead and get started with our VR tour. Are you ready? All right, well, welcome to Lake Louise, Alberta, Canada. You can see that this is the hamlet of Lake Louise, and all the mountains are surrounding the area. So many mountains in this area of Canada. Of course, the most important point of interest in Lake Louise is the lake itself, which is over here. This, of course, is a 3D view of Lake Louise. Let's go ahead and focus on the lake itself and also the chateau on the lake, the Chateau Lake Louise. So right here, we're looking at the lake itself. This is how the lake looks as if you were right there. You can see that the lake has a turquoise tint to it. The mountains look very majestic. People are on the canoes, which is one of the activities you can do on the lake. And people can do hiking as well. I mean, take a look at these mountains over here, the glaciers in the back. You can hike along trails and eventually reach different areas, which I will show you briefly. But the Chateau Lake Louise is right here, right in front of me. There are people taking photos, and who wouldn't, in this beautiful area. This is a nice area, very beautiful, very clean, very nice. So this is Lake Louise. Now let's try to get a better look at this chateau. Perhaps we have not been able to get a good shot of the chateau itself. But this is the Chateau. I believe it's by Fairmont. It's a hotel by Fairmont. Very nice, actually. Fairmont is a very, how should I say, luxurious hotel brand. And just look at that. I mean, imagine staying at this hotel. Your room is one of these rooms right here overlooking the lake. And this is what you see when you wake up. I mean, can you imagine how beautiful that is? And then you're able to take these trails that lead up to the glaciers in the back, to the mountains, and just along the lake itself. I mean, look at this. This is amazing. I highly recommend that if you want to spend some time in Lake Louise, that you consider staying at the Chateau Lake Louise. Of course, this is during the summer months, because during the winter, there's snow and ice all along this area. So you can see that there are trails that go along the lake itself. See, we can kind of go along one of these trails. So you can see people have been hiking in this area. And again, you can take a glimpse of this water right here. The color is stunning. But there's a lot of places to hike along this area. During the winter months, it does ice up and freeze over. And so take a look at this person standing on Lake Louise. This is during the winter months. So you may not be able to appreciate Lake Louise during the winter months in the same way as you would during the summer months, but nonetheless, it's still something to appreciate. And in the back, you can see the Chateau Lake Louise. So, this is Lake Louise from the top, and you can see that there are trails that lead to these mountains here. Let's take a look at something called the Big Beehive. It's a mountain that's on Lake Louise. Well, it looks like it may not be seen on here on the options. But there are places to go and see along Lake Louise, including this area, the Plain of Six Glaciers area, where you can take a trail to a tea house. You can also go to Lake Agnes to see a tea house on Lake Agnes. Let's take a look at Lake Agnes. And there's a Lake Agnes tea house. But let's take a look at Lake Agnes first. So over here is Lake Agnes, and down there is Lake Louise. So you can actually hike from Lake Louise to Lake Agnes. And this is Lake Agnes coming up right here. It's still loading. There we go. And at the very back, I don't know if you can see, but there is a tea house. Now, in order to get to this tea house, you have to either hike or take horse to get to the tea house. But this is Lake Agnes, and it's very beautiful. Not nearly as big as Lake Louise, not nearly as developed as Lake Louise, but that's what makes it all the more beautiful in a sense, is that you could access this area. The tea house is usually open during certain months of the year between June and October, because during the winter it is closed. So that's Lake Agnes, and we did get to see the tea house as well. Let's take a look at Moraine Lake. So Moraine Lake is right here in this area. So where is Lake Louise in comparison to Moraine Lake? Well, Lake Louise is over here. You can see Lake Louise in this area. This is the hamlet of Lake Louise, the Chateau, Lake Louise right here, the Fairmont Hotel is there. So this is another place you can go to, is Moraine Lake, which is also very beautiful. Similar in color, as we can see here. But take a look from this hill up here. The color is very deeply turquoise. And this is a place where you could also rent boats. You could take a boat and canoes and travel along this lake. It looks like a swimming pool. I mean, this is really, really stunning area. Let's see if we can get another view of this area. There are people on the canoes, and you can see that they're on the lake itself. And the lake is not small. I mean, it is a fairly big lake, although it doesn't look nearly as big as Lake Louise. It is still big lake. And again, I mentioned about renting the canoes. You can do that right here and go on Lake Moraine or Moraine Lake. So now that we've looked at several of the things, I do want to see if we can locate the plain of 6 glaciers. I did point out the glacier area in Lake Louise, the mountain area in the back, but I want to see if it's possible to locate, well, here it is, the plain of 6 glaciers. I'm surprised they don't have the big beehive. Okay, so the plain of 6 glaciers. So basically, these are areas like that you cross. They're like hiking, a hike that you can start off at the Lake Louise area down there and eventually reach up to this area of the plain of the 6 glaciers. So let's kind of zoom into this area and see if we can find a good photo. Now, as you can see, these people are hiking the plain of six glaciers, and there is snow, and Lake Louise is down there, so it's quite a hike. I mean, be prepared to dress accordingly. I see some people wearing Crocs, it looks like. I guess, some people are kind of planned in the last minute to hike, but still, this is a great place, and I would highly recommend to visit this area if you have the chance. I mean, look at how the lake looks like from down here. And sometimes you could hear the glaciers crack from up here in this area. Now let's look for the plain of 6 glaciers Teahouse. So here is the Teahouse over here. Let's see if we can kind of get a look at it. I'm trying to zoom into the area. Here we go. So here is the Teahouse, the plain of 6 glaciers Teahouse, not to be confused with the Lake Agnes Teahouse. And so this is a similar type of setup. It looks very nice, and well, they do serve tea. It is a tea house. So this is a nice little place to go to, a nice little getaway if you are hiking on the area of Lake Louise. Now, we couldn't find Big Beehive, and it's a little bit hard to point out exactly in this area here. I want to see if maybe we can find Little Beehive, perhaps. It doesn't look like we're going to find that either. What if we try Beehive, Lake Louise? Okay, so it looks like we cannot find the beehive area themselves. There's the beehive, there's big beehive and little beehive. So, and they look like beehives. I did post a photo in the beginning of this video of the big beehive. And so that's something that I really cannot locate at the moment using the VR platform. I want to see if we can maybe locate the big beehive and little beehive. I don't want to give you the wrong information and point something out that isn't the beehive, but nonetheless, it is nearby Lake Louise area and something you may want to consider as well, taking a hike in that area. All right, so this has been a presentation, a video, a tour, a VR tour of Lake Louise, Moraine Lake, and the surrounding areas. One more thing though, there is the Lake Louise ski resort. So if you like to go skiing, you could certainly visit the resort during the winter months. And so here it is. There is the ski resort area. So there are lifts that take you up to the mountains where you can do downhill skiing. So if you like skiing, come during the winter months. During the summer months where there's no snow, I believe these gondolas are still working to take you up these mountains. So that concludes the video, the VR tour of Lake Louise, Alberta, Canada, and the surrounding areas. I'm very glad you joined me today. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Share with your friends. This has been Travel Step by Step. Our next video will be located in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. That will be the next video. So be prepared for that. That should be coming out soon. And I look forward to have you join me next time. Have a great day or a great time wherever you are in the world.